Music is powerful. There's no denying that. Few things can transcend cultures or generation like it. And it's not hard to see that power either. I mean, you go to a concert, and it is so easy to see how passionate people are about music. But even when it's not the main thing, music has a special way of bringing out emotions and passion in people. You go to a funeral or a wedding, and you are guaranteed to see people bawling their eyes out over a slideshow. Hard-hitting rap and rock help you get in that extra mile during a workout. And the music from the good old days always brings back memories of nostalgia and just simpler times. And then worship music, well, there's just something special about worship music. Every Sunday, millions of people gather together around the world for church. Now, obviously, each experience is going to vary one from another, but there are a few things you're guaranteed to find at pretty much any church. At some point, somebody will give a message, somebody will pray, and there will be worship. Most music has the goal of being entertaining. And while worship music certainly can be entertaining, that's not why it exists. Rather, worship music can be boiled down to two core things: praising God and connecting with Him and His Word. And it is this heart behind worship music that helps set it apart from other genres.
My name is Kyle Grantham, and I am a worship pastor at Crosspoint City Church. As a worship pastor, I view worship as something that's biblical, something that we need, something that God is worthy of. We can see all throughout the Bible where it commands us to sing praise, to sing our worship to God. So worship music, to me specifically, worship music is remembering who God is, what He's done for us. What worship music does for us is it takes our eyes off our worldly situations, our circumstance, and takes my problems away, and it fixes my eyes on Jesus. I think it helps us as much as God deserves our praise and He's worthy of it. It's also for us, and I think it helps us direct our attention back to Jesus and the cross and remembrance of all He's done, and it also just teaches us biblical understanding of who God is, and just helps us remind us each time we sing who God is. And the feeling that worship music brings me is, I would say it's more than just a feeling, it's a reassurance. It just reminds me of how good God is and how desperate I need Him, and how much of a sinful person I am. And that just brings me great joy, and even times it brings me to tears just knowing, just singing simple truths about Him and believing in faith that He loves me, that He sent His Son to die for me, that I am brought to new life because of Him. So it's more than just a feeling to me. It's a reassurance.
God, we thank You for Your grace. Thank You for Your grace.
Now, obviously, lyrics play a huge part in giving a song its identity, but they don't do it alone. The instrumentation also helps a lot. It helps give a song a unique texture and really flesh it out. And it's a really careful balancing act between the two. It's not an either or, it's both and. And that mix does not happen by accident. It's done with incredible precision and detail, and just to make sure the worship environment that needs to happen does happen.
My name is Zachary West. I'm the technical director at Crosspoint City Church. I run the production of audio, lighting, and visual aids for a Sunday service. So my role as a technical director allows me to have a better view of worship. I get to see behind the scenes. I get to see people's heart and souls pour out for God in a different way than many people get to experience. So for me, as an audio tech and an audio guy for many years, I think that the audio mix has a little bit to do with people coming into the room. It allows us to set up the experience for them, allowing for a distraction-free environment and for people to hear from a pastor and hear the worship music and allow them to engage with a distraction-free environment, free of anything that could prevent them from being in full surrender. I've had a Sunday where everything was going bad, to where I thought my audio mix was going horrible, where the lights were just not connecting, and everything in my personal experiences were going horrible. And when I stopped and prayed over the congregation and my own heart, I actually got to experience a better love of Christ, where I saw in our congregation a plethora of people in full surrender, arms stretched high to the heavens, and allowing me to realize that no matter what my circumstances were, that God is moving in power in and through people's lives. And what I do is nothing but just a scratch on the surface of what He can do in someone's heart.
And again, the idea that music can move people is not exclusive to just worship music. Honestly, any song, any form, any genre, they all have the ability to make people feel some crazy strong emotions. And when you bring the meaningful lyrics and intentional instrumentation behind worship together, you get something truly special. I've seen people go from being happy to convicted to in awe to broken to thankful, all in the span of just 4 simple songs. That's 20 minutes of just roller coaster emotions. And honestly, I see it all the time. It is not rare. Even being just a participant in worship is such a powerful and moving experience.
The heart of worship, to me, is an overflow. It's something that happens from private relationship, devotion, discipleship with other people, and the worship out of that is an overflow, is a gratitude, is a thanksgiving.
Worship music moves me to sing. It moves me into a place of surrender to God and allows me to be susceptible to His love and compassion into my life.
I think the difference between worship music and regular mainstream music is the hope and the faith aspect and the truth that we're singing about. That I can listen to any song on the radio or any beautiful piano piece and be emotionally driven by it. But when we put those emotion to truth, to biblical truth, to understanding who God is, I think that's where the power comes in.
This is what worship music is all about. It inspires people. It builds their faith. It meets them where they're at. And it brings them to their knees in acknowledgement of their need for God. And ultimately, that is what is so different about worship music. It has this ability to just connect people with something so much bigger than themselves. And ultimately, that is what the heart of worship is.
If the stars were made to worship so